So many times I'm at the Dollar Tree and I see these beautiful signs and I think, what can we do with them other than just hanging them up? I picked up a couple of these pallets. They look like crates to me, and I thought, you know, it would be really cool if we took these signs, we cut them down and paired them with these wooden crate slat pieces that you can find in the craft section, but this particular one is in the $+ craft section. I am just measuring out the width of the wooden piece, and then once I've got a line where I know where I'm going to cut, I'm going to use my box cutter and go over it a couple times. Now I will highly recommend cutting both sides. It'll have a cleaner finish on both sides. I did not do that, and you'll see exactly here what happens when you don't score both sides. You will have some of that backside tear a little bit. It's not a big deal, honestly. If it does happen, you can just always touch it up with some paint. You can do all kinds of cute things to make it look more farmhouse rustic. That's the greatest thing about farmhouse stuff, that you can have some stuff that looks a little bit more rustic looking. Anyway, go ahead and remove the twine off of the back of these wooden signs, and we're going to use our staple gun and just staple that onto your sign. I did them on both sides because, again, we're building a crate. Once you've got those two sides stapled, then you're going to go to the back side and put on the other side. Now, I decided to use two different signs because there is nothing better than a cute decor piece for your home, except for when you can use it for more than one season. So I love being able to double up my decor purposes. So one side has sunflowers, the other side has a fall farmer's market sign, and then at the bottom, now you could stop there and just use it as just the sides of the crate and put blankets or whatever is in it that you want, or you can finish off the bottom. The best thing to do for the bottom is to get one of these painter canvases. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that this is an 18 by 20 inch. I could be wrong. Anyway, but you can find this in the crafter section. It's the larger painter flat canvas, and I think two come in a pack in the craft section. I'm just basically tracing my line onto that canvas and I'm scoring it. Now you can see here I'm scoring it on the back side, and the finish, the cut lines are so much smoother and cleaner when I cut away from it. Once I have that area all cut off of it and it's cut down to the size that I need for the bottom of the crate, I'm going to go ahead and staple that onto the bottom of the crate so that it actually is a functional, usable crate. I will recommend to have the paper side down and the canvas side in, because it makes it easier to be able to wipe out on that canvas fabric from the actual art canvas if you decide to put something in this. The paper side will, over time, I think, maybe deteriorate a little bit. It's better to have it at the bottom. Now, I also decided, once I stapled it down, I didn't want to just leave these staples exposed, so I'm going to put a little fabric just to cover up those staples to make it nice and clean and high quality and finished. Projects are so fun. You can stop there, or you can just keep going. In my craft room, I love to just keep experimenting and keep playing with things. So at this point I thought, you know, I really do love the crate on the side, but it would be even better if I just stained it a little bit with a paint water stain. This is just a little bit of black and brown paint mixed together with water, and it turns into the most easiest usable stain. I love this stuff. I just decided to just paint it, and then I thought, you know, it could be cute here. I could stop, or I could take it a little further, which I thought, I'm going to add a bead handle on both sides of this crate. Why not? So again, at any point you can stop. It's just to give you the idea of making a crate, and look at how cute it is using these signs from the Dollar Tree other than just hanging them up in your home. They have so much potential to just get creative. So I'm taking my drill, I drilled 2 holes into each side of that wooden side of the crate, and then I cut down the wire. It was a beaded wreath from the craft section. You can get them for $1.25. I stained mine to match the wood on the crate, and then I'm gonna just pull that up. I believe I have 15 beads on each handle. I'm going to pull that up, wrap that wire around nice and snug so it's got a nice quality handle on it. This is like the easiest project. All it takes is just a little bit of creativity and willingness to do it. I'm going to wrap that around. You can see coming around the side, coming back in, and then I'm going to try to tuck it all the way underneath the bead as tightly as I can so that wire is not going to be poking out, and I'm going to trim it down. Once I've got it trimmed down, I decided, you know, I'm going to do one last important step. I'm going to go back in at the very bottom because I can see where that canvas is at the bottom, and I want it to match the edging of the sign. So I went ahead and added a little paint there and also paint on those staples. Start by grabbing this Fall in Love sign from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to make it where it can stand up on its own. Go ahead and cut off the twine from the back of it and grab some tumbling blocks. We're going to need 3 rows of 7, which means you need 21 of these tumbling blocks. Once you've got them all laid out and you've figured out their measurement, which again is 7 across, you're going to go ahead and start gluing them together in rows of 7. Once you've got those nice and glued all the way across, because you can see I glued them on the ends, go ahead and stand up your side, lay one of those long rows down on the table, and try to get it as straight as you possibly can so that this sign will stand up nice and straight. Then go ahead and glue that on the front as well, and then we're going to do the 3rd row on the back. This is going to allow it to stand up nice and strong, and it is going to look so high quality. These signs that look like this, they sell them at Hobby Lobby where they're like $15, $16, sometimes $20 for this size, and we're basically making it for $1.25 for the sign, and then for a box of tumbling blocks another $1.25. Friends, this is such a fun way to elevate the look of these wall sign decor pieces at the Dollar Tree, and we're basically making it for $2.50. Now I'm going to add on some buttons, and you can see that I also painted the bottom stand to match the fall letters, and after that you've got the most beautiful high quality looking sign for just $2.50 and a couple of buttons. Head to the Dollar Tree and pick up 4 of these beaded wreath rings. These are so fabulous to work with. Start by taking the wreath and open up that clamped wire ending. On the first 2, we're going to remove 2 beads, and on the other 2, we're going to remove 3 beads. The reason why we're doing this is because if you try to bring these together in the shape or the form as a pumpkin, the beads are going to collide into each other and it's not going to sit very well. Once you've got those beads off, 2 on 2 of them and 3 on the other 2, go ahead and clamp them back closed again, because we're going to bring them together into the form or the shape of a beaded pumpkin. Now these pumpkins at beautiful home decor stores, they are so expensive, it's ridiculous. I picked up each one of these wreath ring beaded forms from the Dollar Tree for $1.25 each, and with 4 of them we were going to get the exact same look and save so much money. Now we're going to take those 4 wreath rings and we are going to open up the beads at the top and the bottom so it's got that spacing in there so the wires can come together but not the beads colliding. Once you've got that all nice and situated in there and the beads aren't competing for the space, take 2 zip ties and zip tie them tightly into the placing that you want. Set it aside. At this point, I grabbed a log twig from outside on a tree we're about to cut down because it's just old and it's having some problems. I drilled 2 holes, one at the bottom and one through, so that I can zip tie it onto the form, and I also can hot glue it in there so that everything holds together. And now I'm going to take one of these wood rounds from the Dollar Tree. I'm taking off the twine around the side. I took off the tag, and now I'm going to add some hot glue. Take that wood round, we're going to take it and flip it upside down with that hot glue on, and we're going to press down until it dries. You can put something in there to make the weight of it press down even harder, and then you're going to flip it over, taking more hot glue and going in between all those crevices. And I'm going to use some of these larger jumbo clips from the Dollar Tree craft section to hold it in place while it dries and set it to the side. I'm going to now go back to that log that we cut from earlier with the holes we drilled. And you don't have to drill the holes, but I really like when my projects have a high-end finished look. It looks like it came from a store, that nothing is going to break off of it if somebody picks it up. So the zip tie is going to really lock it into place, because if you just hot glue it, in my opinion, I think it's going to come off. But if you're gentle with it and you don't have any little hands picking it up, it would be fine if you did hot glue. To complete the look, add some moss to disguise that zip tie and a candle for display. This next project is so ridiculously easy, and it is so beautiful, especially when you put more than one out on a table, a bookshelf. Oh my word, it looks so beautiful and high end. We're going to start with one of these tall cylinder glasses from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to turn it into a very elevated hurricane glass. Grab one of these candle stem glass holders, add on E6000 and hot glue for a long-term and short-term hold. Make sure it's right in the center. So I actually like to stand up whenever I do this part, to stand over it to make sure it's really centered. And then I'm going to just flip it over. That hot glue is going to dry first, and it's going to let the E6000 lock it into place because it binds the glass together for a long-term hold. Now I'm going to take a bag from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut it down to the sizing I need. And then I'm going to use some washi tape to go around it, because we're going to take this outside and spray paint the bottom of this hurricane glass we just designed. This is so high-end, I can't even tell you, friends. Pottery Barn and Ballard Home sell stuff like this all the time. It's so ridiculous how much they charge for these. I think it's usually like $50 for stuff like this, like depending on the size. This size was probably more like $35. And so far we've made it for $1.50, no, $2.50. We've made it for $2.50. So now I'm going to come in with a grass skirt raffia piece. I always like buying it as a grass skirt during the summertime because it makes raffia so easy to work with versus buying it in the big bag and it's all crazy. I'm just going to wrap that around, and we're going to give it a beautiful farmhouse country fall look. Now we're going to go ahead and take some popcorn kernels. I put those down in there first, then I insert the candle, make sure it's straight, and add a little bit more kernels without the candle slipping around. Go ahead and move around the seeds in there, and it looks so beautiful on a shelf. You've got to give this one a try.